on the relationship with the U.S. So I was wondering, as the new DFA sec, what will you be doing to ensure Filipinos are protected from unequal military agreements like EDCA? Given cases of human rights violations by U.S. soldiers against Filipinas, like Jennifer Laude, and now the unstable conditions under Donald Trump, right? So also, can you comment on the administration's reaffirmation of U.S. military to maintain and expand bases in the country, despite President Duterte's prior comments against EDCA and his proclamations that the U.S. troops leave the Philippines within 2 years?
Thank you, Nina, for both the compliment, and I don't know if it was an endorsement, but I really don't know where I'll be in a few months. I told the president I'll see him in April, and I see him, I try to see him as often as I can to be in the discussions. But I did tell him that in April, you tell me where you need me, and I'll stay there. So if you say the Senate, the DFA, or another department, some people here have said that why don't you be the U.S. ambassador? I can't because my wife's a mayor. We have a lot of work to do back home, and one of my strengths is by being in constant communication with the president and his men. I'm able to communicate outside. So if I'm here far away, not only will my wife kill me, I think I'll lose touch in what the president actually wants to get done. Having said that, to answer your question directly, that's why we were very optimistic with the peace talks, because many of the issues that you stated were actually part of the peace talks. How the Philippines would, in the same way that President Duterte assured the Japanese that there's no military alliance with the Chinese, and the Russians assured that they're not seeking military alliance with the Philippines, and the Chinese also assured that they're not seeking military alliance with us, but they're seeking better relationships. The vision is still to have a country that has credible defense and will not need nor want any foreign troops in the area. What is in our country? No, what I meant is foreign troops officially. If they're going to go there as tourists, that's a different thing. But I think you're referring to having permanent, semi-permanent, or what do you call that? Alternating presence in the country. The world is changing, and in the past there was the Cold War, and there was this group and that group, and superpowers have different rules from us. So in the same manner that the Americans did not want missiles on Cuba, and the Russians did not want missiles in Turkey, obviously the Chinese want some kind of defense to their homeland via the South China Sea. And obviously the US wants its presence in South Korea, Japan, and Philippines. So the Lord said, blessed is the peacemakers.
Amen.
And if we can play that role and a bridging role, then so be it. But it's also it's an idealistic world, but it's also a pragmatic world. There are treaties. So I think the president is trying to navigate all of this. In one of my meetings today, I communicated wise words that I don't know if it's original, but I was floored when I heard it from Shimon Peres. I had the opportunity to listen to him in a small group almost a decade ago, and he said, in negotiations, if you give too much, you lose your own base. That's why I don't blame the Communist Party of the Philippines in pushing the president for more, because they have to protect their own base. But on the other hand, so does the president. If he gives too much into the communists, he might lose the military. He loses the military and the police, then there'll be a coup d'etat, or there'll be regime change, which he doesn't care, but his work stops there. And Simon Peres also said, but if you give too little, you lose your negotiating partner. So I think we're in a Goldilocks problem, too cold, too hot. The bed's too stiff, it's too soft. So we have to find a common ground and to be able to agree with it. I agree with the president that eventually we should not have foreign troops. But the reality is also that we have to sit down with the Americans. What's your core interest in the region? What's the core interest of the Philippines? I mean, it's easy to say we're Switzerland or we're neutral. So every one of you get out, but it doesn't work that simple. So I know your question deserves, full discussion, but I can only give you what the thoughts of the president is, what the directions he's taking. And I don't, the Trump administration is in its infancy, so I don't know, the Obama administration, it's quite obvious, had his hands full in the Middle East. Things got worse there. Let's not say who's at fault or why, but it just got worse. And then they had a crisis in Europe also because of Russia and Ukraine. And that's where the U-turn to Asia, the pivot to Asia or the emphasis on Asia came about. So I don't know what the Trump administration policy would be. Would it be having some sort of agreement with China, to be less aggressive in the region, but they will also have less troops so that they can focus outside. I know that there is a line open with Russia, which some like and some do not like. So it's really simple and complicated at the same time. So we're just trying to fix our own foreign policy, and each foreign policy is based on two things: your values as a nation, and secondly, your nation's needs. And right now, South Korea, Japan, even Thailand, our other neighbors can have strong foreign policy because they have a strong economy. But there's a saying that beggars can't be choosers. I don't agree with it, but it's a reality. And while the Philippines has so much poverty and so much corruption, we end up being beggars in the world scene, and that's what the president is trying to change, trying to put some dignity in our foreign relations. And I think some of our American counterparts recognize that, but some cannot also ignore the seeming human rights violations. So it's complex. Some do see that the human rights violations are actually exaggerated, but they're on the other side, geopolitics. They want us to be tougher on China. So it's a world where everyone's pulling us in a different direction. And I think, let me just say this, I would not know what to do if I was in the palace now. But the president's experience in Davao, dealing with the military police, with the left, with our Muslim brothers and sisters, gave him some perspective, and he wants to try out his ideas now. It's not perfect, it's going to be a roller coaster ride, but I'm still very optimistic that we'll get somewhere.
Thank you, sir. Next question.